Well, my next guest says that Greece actually needs to default and default big. Well, he's a man who should know. He is the man who managed Argentina's central bank after that country defaulted on its sovereign debt. Mario Blejer currently is the vice chairman of Banco Hipotecario. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Argentina was in quite a different position, wasn't it? Because it was able to default and then devalue its currency, whereas you would like to see Greece default, but not leave the euro.
Yeah, I don't think that the two things are totally linked. They can be separate. What I just say is that the current agreement, the agreement that was reached in July, includes already a default. I mean, a reduction in the value of the debt of about 20%. And that's not enough. My point is that if you are going to default, you have to default big, in the sense that you solve the problem. And that's what we actually did. The way that Argentina defaulted, in a way that was not negotiated and that was unilateral, is not a recommendable way.
Right.
But the fact that the default basically finished with the problem, I think is recommendable.
No, the thing was that Argentina actually recovered pretty well after the default and devaluation. If Greece were to default big, of course, it wouldn't be Greek banks, wouldn't be just Greek banks that would take a hit, but of course, all of that interwoven Eurozone finance and banks in Germany and France and in the UK as well. That's one of the major reasons why everyone in Europe is so keen to avoid a default.
Yes, but at the same time, Europe is financing the programs and they're financing big. It's a lot of money you are talking about. And I think that if you look at this through, basically, Germany is lending money to Greece, so Greece can pay the German banks. So, in fact, what I was thinking is that you need really to clear up the situation, and then the governments of Germany or France, they should recapitalize their own banks, the way that the Americans did it.
In a way, do you think that this has got more to do with politics than finance?
I think there's a lot to do with politics, because it's very unpopular in Germany to finance their own banks in this manner, direct manner. But I think that this is the way that this has to proceed.
No, José Manuel Barroso talked today about Eurobonds, saying that they should be preserved as an option. Do you think that they would work as an option to finance the euro?
It will work, but again, politically, it's very difficult to envisage that that will be agreed. However, if the European Central Bank continue to acquire the bonds of the peripheral countries, including Spain and Italy, this is a Eurobond on the back door, basically, because that's what it is. So politically, it's difficult to have a single bond or an independent bond, but in practice, that's what is going on.
I wanted to ask you about the Fed. We're hearing that they may introduce Operation Twist today. There might even be some more QE. Do you think that those are the right moves?
Yes, I think that we are concentrated completely in the last few days on the situation in Europe and the debt crisis in Europe. But probably more serious than that for the world economy is the probability or the prospect of the American economy having a double dip, or in some way having a recession or a recessionary environment. And I think that this is it's important at this moment that everything is done to avoid this, because that will cause more damage to the world economy than what we are seeing in Europe. And probably that is not the optimal way of doing only with monetary policy. You need some also fiscal stimulus, but also it's politically very difficult to get the fiscal stimulus in the United States. So I think it's a correct way of going, yes, additional QE and some other monetary operation.
Now, here in the UK, of course, we've had the Bank of England minutes out today that show that policymakers seem to be edging closer to another round of QE here as well. Do you think that that's the right approach for the United Kingdom? Well,
this come out the same day that we see the new forecast of the IMF regarding the world economy, and also is downgrading the rate of growth in the UK. Again, I think that this is the time to try to use all what you have in your arsenal, and I don't see why not using some additional monetary incentives to try to really move these economies, because if the world economy does not recuperate, all the issue of the debt crisis will go into a second stage. Really.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today on The Last Word, Mario Blejer. Thank you.